Hello and welcome to Steve and Dave's 50 Years Ago this month. This time around, we're looking at Billboard Hot 100 from June 14th, 1975. Got some good stuff to talk about, so let's just get started.
Let's do. Topping the charts in mid-June of 75, it's America with Sister Golden Hair, which is, I think, one of their, it's on the Mount Rushmore, right, of America's
Yes,
songs.
I agree.
It is also, I think, as close to a kind of solo number as you might see from America at this point. Penned by Jerry Buckley. That's that's Jerry Buckley's 12 string, which opens up the song. That's Beckley's lap steel, and that's also Jerry Buckley on the lead vocal. The group had tremendous success dating back to 1972 with Horse with No Name. This, of course, is their this song again at the top of the charts will be their last number one. America peaked number one twice again with Horse with No Name and Sister Golden Hair, and it's also kind of the end of their kind of magical run of singles. This will be the highest charting single that they'll have until the early 80s with the wretched You Can Do Magic in 1982, which is a terrible song. But this is kind of it, or getting close to it. Um, Dan Peake will leave the band in a couple of years, and America will soldier on with Beckley
He's
and Dewey Bunnell.
Pete goes gets into Christian music, right?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, with some success actually.
Yeah.
As these things go, he's quite a successful contemporary Christian artist. America had relocated to Southern California at this time, and the young lads were living the high life. Beckley's been pretty open about mm, the adventures that the group had in this era. It's one of the things that kind of led Peak out of the band.
Yes.
But Sister Golden Hair is a song that is really kind of about no one. Disappointingly, I think everyone always hoped that there would be a woman, specific woman, but it's a kind of well, it's a kind of creation. Beckley talks about it being almost something drawn from Jackson Browne's work. Jackson
Oh,
Browne, because there's a slight air of melancholy to all this. So the long and short of it is that it really isn't about a specific woman. This, of course, is one of the things that makes this song so effective is that the production is, of course, handled by George Martin. Martin, of course, had moved over and started working with the group a couple of years earlier. And it's a magnificently kind of arranged song, and the album, the song still sounds great half a century later. But it is again kind of the swan song to a large extent. This is from the Hearts LP. So in addition to selling a lot of singles, America in this era was selling a lot of albums. The album peaked at number 4 on the album 200 list. And again, I think by almost any measure, this is America at its peak. So let's listen to a brief cut from Sister Golden Hair.
Well, I tried to make it Sunday, but I got so damn depressed that I set my sights on Monday and I got myself undressed. I ain't ready for the altar, but I do agree there's times when a woman sure can be a friend of mine.
There we go. Listen to that all day. That's peak America.
Oh
For
yeah.
my money, that's their best song.
Yeah,
And
yeah. It might be. Yeah.
and it doesn't really ever, this is it. It doesn't get better than this. And that's fine. They had a lot of success, and so nothing to apologize for. So there we go. That's at number one, Sister Golden Hair. Okay, I'm super interested in what you have to say about this next song, because I think it's fair to say that this next song was the song of the summer, maybe the song of the year on some level, right? This is Captain Tennille's "Love Will Keep Us Together."
Yeah, I I never was a huge fan, but listening to it again in preparation for this session, I thought, I'm not really sure why not, because it's a pretty good song. Um, uh, this is from their album, Love Will Keep Us Together. That was released, the single was released April 1975 on A&M. Uh, Writers Neil Sedaka and Howard Greenfield. And before we go on, let's talk about that songwriting team
Yeah,
because it's impressive. Together and both of them separately,
right.
but Sedaka and Greenfield were friends. They first met as teenagers. They lived in the same apartment building in Brighton Beach, in Brooklyn. Their first recorded compositions took up both sides of the debut singles by the Tokens.
Yep.
Did not chart,
No, but
but
it's
the
been a great,
Tokens
oh, a big
became
deal.
quite a big
Yes.
group, of course, and Sadako was actually briefly a member of that
Oh,
group.
oh, that's awesome.
1958, they signed as songwriters to Alden Music. Alden from Al Nevins and Don Kirshner.
Don, the one, the only.
We're
Yep.
going to have to do behind the curtains about Don Kirshner. I mean, it's
Don Kirshner. Welcome to a rock concert.
he's so big.
Yeah.
Yeah, later of the Brill Building, they weren't in the Building.
Yeah, they're still kids at this point.
Yeah, when they signed up, but that they would move there later. In their first year with Alden, they scored their first major pop single with Connie Francis, "Stupid Cupid," went to
Yeah.
number 14.
Yeah.
They also wrote later hits for her, "Fallen," "Frankie," and the theme to "Where the Boys Are."
Which was a big song. Yeah.
And she starred in that, of course. Um, and then working with Jack Keller, Greenfield would also write two consecutive number one hits for Francis, "Everybody's Somebody's Fool" and "My Heart Has a Mind of Its Own," and another top 10 hit for her, "Breaking In a Brand New Broken Heart." So at least Greenfield was very important to her career.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
Um, when Sadaka signed to RCA Records as a solo artist in 1958, he and Greenfield continued to compose some songs, and Sadaka recorded a number of them. Among them, "The Diary," "Oh Carol," "Calendar Girl," "Happy Birthday, Sweet 16,"
Oh yeah.
and "Breaking Up Is Hard to Do."
Yes, which will have yeah, a little bit of a renaissance here soon.
His recordings from that time sold a combined 25 million records. So
He
he
was, I
was,
mean, yeah, he was an enormous figure. So I
yeah,
mean, and he's the dual threat, right? He's a performer and a fine composer. Um,
absolutely. Yeah.
he I don't know where he fits into this. He was part of the teen sensation wave of this era. Um, he he hits a kind of fallow period, but there's no arguing the fact that he is, well, one of those foundational figures
Oh,
in the
yeah.
history of rock and
Late
roll.
50s, early 60s,
And he's,
very,
yeah,
very big, right? But of course, as he starts to do some more touring and has promotional commitments and other things, taking up more of his time, um, Kirshner encouraged Greenfield to collaborate with other Alden
yeah,
writers. So beginning in 1960, Greenfield began regular collaboration with Jack Keller, and the
very
two of
productive.
them would
Yeah.
get together and write songs every Monday and Wednesday for 6 straight years.
I mean, not to belabor this, but I mean, this is part of the strategy of successful songwriters
Yeah.
is just stick to itiveness, right? It's elbow grease, right? It's just, you guys got to keep at it. And so, yeah,
And in addition to the songs that they were churning out for Connie Francis, they also wrote a top 10 hit for Jimmy Clanton, Venus and Blue Jeans,
Oh,
and
yes.
had songs recorded by Sinatra, Patti Page, and Brenda
Well,
Lee coming on
yeah.
strong.
Come on. But right. So what you're suggesting here is that they were at the top of the
Yeah.
heap in terms of songwriters in this era. No question.
They also wrote the theme music for the U.S. TV shows Gidget and Bewitched.
Well, Bewitched. I don't. I'm aware of Gidget. That's Sally Field, right?
Yes,
But Bewitched, yeah, sure. In fact, we could both hum the theme to Bewitched.
yes.
But yeah, all right.
She also worked with, sorry, he also worked with Helen Miller. He wrote Foolish Little Girl with her. That was the Shirelles' final top 10 hit. It Hurts to Be in Love, which was intended for Sedaka, but Gene Pitney eventually
Mhm.
recorded that. And the Hazel theme song for the
Oh,
fourth season of Hazel.
oh my Lord. Yes. Yeah, I do vaguely remember Hazel. Yeah.
And then there was a one shot. Um, there was a swapping, a partner swapping at the
Easy.
Brill building.
Easy. All right.
Um, and Jerry Goffin got together with Jack Keller, and Greenfield got together with one Carole King.
We'll call it cross-pollination. But yes, there we go.
Cross-pollination.
But
And
yes.
Greenfield and King wrote Crying in the Rain,
Oh,
which became
bingo.
a top 10 hit for the Everly Brothers. So, in other words, these two guys
Oh, they were. Yeah,
were really, really big.
sure.
And this song, Love Will Keep Us Together, was one of the last two that these two would write together for a long time. Like most of the 70s, they were writing with other people.
Hmm.
Uh, Sedaka would write with Philip Cody, who
Oh, yeah.
for things like Bad Blood and stuff like that,
Yeah.
which was important for his comeback. But this was one of the songs that they wrote together, and Sedaka recorded this in 1973 on his Sedaka Is Back LP. And there's one more song, Our Last Song Together.
Oh, this
And
is
that
going to
would
be a
become
little
a minor hit
emotional.
for Bo Donaldson and the Haywoods.
Oh, yes. Everybody drink. A Bo Donaldson reference. Yeah, good.
So anyway, this when Captain Tennille recorded it, it would become a number one hit. So it peaks at number one, and it became the Grammy Record of the Year for 1975, and it was the best-selling single of the year. So
Oh, yeah,
it was a big deal.
it was everywhere, right? I mean, yeah, it was a big deal. Yeah, it was a huge deal. And they were America fell in love with them almost immediately.
And the album and the single were produced by one Daryl Dragon.
Well, there we go. So the alter
Who
ego.
was Daryl Dragon?
Well, that's the captain, my
That's the
friend.
captain. Sure.
A a a mercurial figure, if there ever was one.
All right. We may talk about that a little bit more, but just he played all of the instruments
Oh,
on
yes.
this. He's a keyboard man, so of course piano, electric piano, synthesizers, clavinet. He also played the bass. What he didn't play was drums, and you might be able to guess who played the drums on this.
Oh, I'm going to take a swing, and I don't know. Karen Carpenter.
Oh,
No.
well, that's an interesting
Oh,
swing.
it's got to be Hal Blaine then.
Hal Blaine, yeah.
Okay. Well, I
So
thought I was going the A&M route, but okay, Hal Blaine.
right, right.
Yeah.
Well, and of course, there were some comparisons to the Carpenters. They're kind of in the
Oh,
same
well, yeah.
ballpark
Yeah,
with the music,
well,
right?
for sure. Yeah.
Anyway, uh, the Captain originally hoped that the lead single from this album would be their rendition of "I Write the Songs." The only reason that we know anything about "I Write the Songs" is because of Barry Manilow, right? but he wanted that to be their lead single.
And he had a relationship with Bruce Johnson, right? Because Daryl Dragon had been a part of the
Had been
Beach
part of the
Boys.
Beach Boys,
And
yeah.
I think his brother as well. Yeah. So, um, well, that was somebody at the label did the right thing.
Yes, I agree. Although maybe their "I Write the Songs" is perfectly charming. I've never heard their version.
It's fine. I'm sure it's fine, but this song's terrific.
Anyway, it rose to the number one position on the easy listening chart, of course, as well as the Hot 100. Um, it was at number one for 4 weeks on the Hot 100.
I mean, yes.
So
It's still it's still it's still
this is
yeah,
why
it's
it
still
also
burning my brain.
topped the year-end chart.
Sure.
Certified Gold, of course, and this version of the song also earned Sedaka and Greenfield Grammy nomination for Song of the Year.
Well, yeah, it's
Just really interesting.
yeah,
Sedaka
it's a trip.
admitted lifting the main chord progression from
I
the Beach Boys' "Do It Again." That na na na
oh,
na
yep,
na na na, na, yeah. Um,
that's interesting.
Also inspired by the augmented chords of Al Green.
Mm,
And he said
the
he
Sublime
wrote
one.
this. He said, sometimes I am inspired to write a song for a certain vocalist, for a certain singer.
Mhm.
And he wrote this with Diana Ross in mind.
Yes.
And when you hear him, he does a pretty decent Diana Ross imitation. And he sings this doing the Diana Ross thing. He said, oh yeah. Oh yes. This would have definitely worked with
Oh,
Diana Ross.
yeah.
So
It's a yeah. I'm sort of intrigued by the fact that you didn't find it a this is such a catchy number, and the use of the synthesizers and the clavinet and whatnot made it it gave it. I mean, it's pretty cheesy, and but it gave it a certain, I won't say edge, but a kind of bounce that made it unusual and made it sound almost kind of futuristic. And there was again the enduring appeal of Tony Tennille, right, who was this um, sunshiny, effervescent figure. Again, the pairing is, I mean, it's as we will learn later, right, that their marriage was a difficult one, um, a very difficult one. But and he was I think somebody who was troubled, frankly. But it's the other thing about this, right, is that it again, this is the mid 70s, it launches them into, a kind of TV variety show stratosphere, right? And
Captain
so
Tennille's show.
yes, so suddenly they have their own ABC show. She has she's some game shows and just starring on guest starring on Love Boat and things like that. And they pull off the string of hits for sure, but this is, I mean, this is the song that
Yes,
we
they
forever remembered
covered
for.
America's Worst Song, Muskrat Love, with some success.
Yeah, it's a toss-up, isn't it?
Well, what else is in the running for you?
Well, I don't know. No. I just toss up in terms of which version is better
Oh,
or
I
which
see.
version
I
is
see.
worse.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, yeah, they do. Um, Toni Tennille was she was a showbiz veteran by the time that she was in her early to mid 30s by the time that their success hit, and they were a hardworking duo. He had again, spent all that time with the Beach Boys. He did a lot of studio work. She was also a session singer somewhere now. She sings on the wall. She's on two. She's in the Pink Floyd
Look at
sessions.
all
She
these
and
guitars. Want to take a bath? Yeah,
there we go. Yeah,
Tony
you're
Tennille.
familiar with it. Tony Chanel, along with Bruce Johnston. They both
Oh,
appear. But so she is, you know, she's a hardworking entertainer, and it's I suppose it's inevitable that there would be a kind of burnout. But I think this song is this is terrific, and it's one of those songs that just kind of you puts a bounce in your step, I think, a little.
And of course, they did the tribute to Sedaka with, in the end, Sedaka is back.
You know, and
that
that's right, and you know that was people appreciated that, I think, right? That was something that people really sort of it made that a charming song even more charming in a way, I think. So we should listen to a little.
Let's
Almost did there a second ago, so let's just listen to a little. Here we go. And then there are those cute dogs, right? That got a lot of attention as well on the cover of both the album and the single. So Love Will Keep Us Together, the Captain and Tennille. And we'll hear more from the Captain and Tennille in future episodes because they're everywhere in the mid to late 70s. At number 3, it's Linda Ronstadt, who is, as they say, firing on all cylinders at this point. Almost every single that she puts out is making it to the top 10. Right now, it's When Will I Be Loved, which peaks at number 2. It's at number 3 this week. Penned by Phil Everly in 1960. Phil Everly, who apparently wrote the song, sitting outside an A&W root beer stand. It was a hit of sorts, not of sorts. It was a hit for the Everly Brothers. It peaked at number 8 for the Everlys. And Ronstadt was famous for, again, interpreting the work of others. And she split the difference between figures who were from the early years of rock and roll, whether it be Chuck Berry or Buddy Holly or, again, the Everly Brothers, or more contemporary songwriters such as Warren Zevon or
Elvis Costello.
Elvis Costello, yeah. And so she was, and at this point, I think it's fair to say that if Linda Ronstadt recorded one of your songs, it really was a kind of blessing. It was a kind of endorsement that really was a boost, a career boost. Now, not that Phil Everly needed a career boost, but she was an amazing figure at this point. Okay, so this song peaks at number 2 on the pop charts. It peaks at number 3 on the adult contemporary charts. When Will I Be Loved was a number 1 country song.
I was going to just ask if it didn't get on the country.
Yeah, it was. And so she had long had this, and she had cultivated it, I think it's fair to say, this country appeal. And so she is, she's a big figure. It's a short song. It clocks in at just slightly over 2 minutes, but it is, like all songs of hers in this era, dominated by one of the kind of great bands right now, led by a guy named Andrew Gold. Mm-hmm. Who is playing guitars on keyboards, a lot of vocal work, and again, Kenny Edwards on bass. Produced by Peter Asher. Peter Asher is, she's really instrumental to her rise as an icon, I think. He's one of the...
Peter and Gordon.
Peter and Gordon. I think he's a little bit underappreciated, I think, for his production work, but he's very effective. This is from her album Heart Like a Wheel. Which was a number 1 album in 1975. And again, very big. I mean, this is the thing. I mean, her albums, she's selling a lot of singles. She's all over the radio, but she's selling a lot of albums as well in an era where albums really matter. I mean, you can argue that this is sort of the high watermark of album-oriented rock. And Linda Ronstadt's at number 1. It's just really quite extraordinary. She will peak twice again on the album charts. In 77 with Simple Dreams and 78 with Living in the USA. She's an enormously impactful figure at this point. So we should listen to a brief cut from her version, and she amps it up a little bit of When Will I Be Loved, the Everly Brothers classic.
I've been cheated, been mistreated. When will I
My gosh, all hail Andrew Gold, by the way. Is anything that guy was touched was just amazing. And so here we have it, Linda Ronstadt at her, I think really at almost at her best with When Will I Be Loved at number 3. So it's gonna be hard not to be emotional for this next group at number 4 because we've had a lot of fun over the years with these lads from Flint, Michigan, but this is pretty much it. At number 4, it's Grand Funk's Bad Time.
Yeah, indeed. From the album All the Girls in the
Ah,
World Beware,
this
their
is,
ninth studio album,
yep.
released March 24th, 1975 on Capitol Records. Mark Farmer, who was in the process of getting divorced, wrote this, and so maybe, the timing of that had something to do with
Yeah, I think that's
it bad time. Um, I'd like to talk a little bit about Jimmy Yenner. I guess it's Yenner. It's Inner. He produced this uh, uh, and produced a lot of Grand Funk stuff. He also produced albums for Bay City Rollers, Chamber Brothers, Raspberries,
well,
and Eric Carmen solo then.
okay.
Late Three Dog Night. But his single greatest success was the Dirty Dancing soundtrack.
That's a success too. That's
And
a huge album.
the film's popularity caught the producers by surprise, and the album had 1 million copies on back order before a single was even released.
It's yeah.
So
I mean, yeah,
it was gold already on back order, and they hadn't released a single song yet.
that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, the album spent 18 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard 200.
Well, yeah.
Went platinum 11 times,
Well,
selling more than 39 million copies worldwide.
I
It
mean, when it comes to right,
remains one of the top selling albums of all time.
when it comes to Dirty Dancing, I mean, that's a movie that's best watched with one's eyes closed anyway, right?
That
I
was
mean,
that
it's
was a phenomenon. It's just
it certainly was.
I remember I was I was here in Germany at the time, and I remember the theater that it was shown at. Um, it didn't change its marquee for months.
I well, yeah. I mean, was Patrick Swayze more popular than any part of the world but Germany? I mean, Germany, he was a god in Germany. I remember this as well. He was a big deal.
Spacey sang that the song "She's Like the Wind." Did you know he also wrote it?
Oh, no, I did not. No. So
I did
there,
not know that either, but
I mean,
he did.
there we go. I mean, I wouldn't have guessed that we would have gone down the Swayze road here, but yeah, I mean, he was really an incredibly talented dude,
Well,
incredibly talented.
and Yenner approached him because he had actually written it for another film, a film with Jamie Lee Curtis,
Hmm.
but
Okay.
wasn't used there. So he said, "Oh, can we use it for our soundtrack?" And of course, that was one of the two big singles that were not oldies
Right.
from that soundtrack.
Yeah.
And that soundtrack actually spawned a follow-up, February 1988, more Dirty Dancing,
Well,
which
you can
also went
never have enough.
multi-platinum. It sold 32 million copies worldwide.
Well,
More Dirty Dancing. Can you believe that?
uh, just no, really, I
Have
can't.
you ever heard of that album?
I suppose I have, but it doesn't come to
Because of your
mind.
sister, maybe.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, actually, right.
Um, I had never heard of it, but 32 million copies worldwide. Unreal. Anyway, Yenner also worked on soundtrack albums for The Big Chill. That's a great soundtrack. Um, Sister
Yeah.
Act and White Man Can't Jump. And I don't know anything about that soundtrack, but I do
Okay.
know
Yeah.
Big Chill was fantastic. In total, he was awarded 85 gold and platinum albums, multiple Grammys, and 2 Oscars. So, a producer that I had never heard of before had that kind of success going for him.
Like always, we uncover things. Yeah.
And
It's
he
fascinating.
produced All the Girls in the World Beware. So there you go.
Yeah.
This song peaked at number 4. It was the group's, so where it's at now, it peaked at number 4. It was their 4th and final single to reach the top 10 in the US.
This is it. Yeah.
And it marked the end of the group's 2-year run as Grand Funk. And that's
This
the
is
2 years where they scored all of their major hits, right?
yeah, right. That's right. This never made any sense to me.
No,
But
I was just going to say, well, since we changed our name, we're starting to get hits. We're starting to really pump them out. Why don't we go back to the old name?
I love the old name. I kind of like the new name, but just stay with one. I don't really I've never understood.
It's a
I don't know. I
strange
just
choice.
maybe a sign of a group that was there was some some problems.
I'd like to share something here.
Oh Lord. All
This
right,
is
everybody.
the inner sleeve of that album. Um, this was by the comic artist Neil Adams, by the way. He did Batman and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, they had they had a certain sense of humor. And it's this this song is terrific.
It is. It's a very good song. Why don't we listen in?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm in love with the girl that I'm talking about. I'm in love with the girl I can't live without. I'm in love, but I sure picked a bad time to be in love.
Fantastic. It's fantastic. It harkens back to an earlier era of rock and roll, but it's a great sound. And you and I have been pretty open about our admiration for Grand Funk.
Do you know
And
who the biggest Grand Funk Railroad fan is that I know?
Michael Moore.
Well, Michael Moore well, that's not surprising, but
I don't know.
your eldest son.
Oh yeah. He loves Grand Funk.
Yeah,
I also
big fan.
and big fan and also learned recently the biggest Grand Funk hater, maybe of all time, is Paul Simon,
Is that right?
who made it like almost like a personal mission to
Holy cow!
degrade Grand Funk at every turn in this era. But the symbol of sort of the bad the direction that rock music was headed, he was not happy. But Paul, a little dyspeptic sometimes. So there we have it, number 4, right? Grand Funk's Bad Time. All right, this is the heaviest song in many ways that this group ever put out, but it also has some of the most kind of lightweight, nostalgic, even kind of cringy lyrics. It's Chicago's Old Days. And this is a song penned by James Pankow, who was one of the horn players. And again, as we talked about, Chicago is one of those groups where there's a lot of talent and a lot of songwriting talent and a lot of aspirational songwriters. And so I think that's also, it's a blessing and a curse, right? Because you have people who are who see themselves as more, and in the end, this is so particularly for the bassist Peter Cetera. This is he feels, I think, to some degree maybe fairly a little constrained in the group, and the seeds of discontent are already being sown, and this song is evidence of that. So. Old Days is a heavy number, but it's nostalgic and again name checks drive-ins and comic books and Howdy Doody. And it is sung by, like many of the songs of this era, sung, the lead vocal is Cetera, and he hated this song. He hated to sing it. He hated Howdy Doody. He hated everything about it. And he hated to do it live. Now, the problem was, of course, that this was a big number. And in the mid-70s was becoming a kind of centerpiece of their shows. It featured basically everybody in the group had a kind of really role to play here. And, everybody was sort of featured, but Cetera didn't want to do it. And so you're getting a little taste of what will be the burr in the saddle that will eventually drive him out of the band. But
Don't
Pankow,
you think if you're going to become a rock star, if you're in a rock band, you should just make peace with the fact that at some point, your biggest hit is going to be the song that you dislike the most. Because that seems to be the case so often.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
It's like the mamas and papas. Everybody hated
the
Monday.
Oh, that's right.
It makes no sense. What's this even about? Blah blah blah. They didn't want to record it, and there are dozens of stories like that.
There are, and so But I also think that this is being in a band is hard work. Timothy B. Schmidt famously said that he'd never been in a band that wasn't on the verge of breaking up. And with Chicago, you've got so many members, and you've got so many members who are, they're clearly talented, but also see themselves as, songwriters and all that. And there's real competition within the band. Pankow,
a manager that's ripping you off. And, not a good situation.
And also, I mean, we haven't talked about this much today, but it's also the era where since the 70s, mid-70s, and so substance abuse, a lot of cocaine flowing. Chicago was a band that was really bedeviled by drugs, and it tore the band apart.
In the mid-70s, cocaine wasn't really taken seriously as a hard drug.
No, it wasn't. I think that's fair.
That was not the understanding.
I'll put this in the reading list this week. There's an article from in a previous month from 72 in Rolling Stone that talks about the rise of cocaine and how it was used as a kind of fuel by creatives. And the tone of it is that it's a problem, but with a lowercase p. Right, it really wasn't seen, right, as a heavy drug, even as a dangerous drug. It was seen as a great distraction. But right, and so I think you're right. It wasn't part.
It's clearly as addictive as your heroin or meth. And
I think that absolutely, and it was everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was everywhere. And so, I mean, there's just a lot of things that are just floating about right now that make, I think, being in this line of work difficult. I mean, no one's, shedding a lot of tears for these folks at this point, but there were challenges, and certainly cocaine was one of them.
Well, and just one last thing about that. I mean, this was a drug that was really expensive. And so, people who were making gobs of money, your movie actors, your movie stars, rock stars that were just shoveling it in, we're also shoveling it back out.
Yes.
And so, you have people
it
who are
bankrupted
earning
people.
just an outrageous amount of money who are nearly broke.
No, that's exactly right. No, that's exactly right. Yeah, it is corrosive on many levels, but it's also omnipresent at this point. I'll make note of that. We'll put that article in this month. It's a fascinating article. Name checks people like Hoyt Axton and whatnot who talked about off the rails. All right, so again, let's get to it though. Let's listen to Old Days. This is I think the first 30 seconds or so of this song. It's as heavy as Chicago ever sounds. Here we go, Old Days.
Old days, good times.
nostalgia, indeed. So, and that's Terry Kath on the wah wah, the great Terry Kath. So, there we go. So at number 5, it's Old Days from Chicago. All right, let's get to it. She doesn't. I don't know. This might be her lone appearance on the pop charts. She is a country figure of some note, but it's Jessi Colter at number 6 with "I'm Not Lisa."
Yeah, she's a one-hit wonder as far as the pop chart is concerned. And this is that hit. This comes from I'm Jessi Colter. I'm not Lisa. I'm Jessi Colter, her second album. It was her debut album for Capitol Records. She had been with, let's see, she had been with RCA Victor.
Yeah.
And that's, she got that recording contract with the help of her husband, Waylon Jennings.
Waylon Jennings, yeah.
And he produced her music. They did duets and so on. But he was the co-producer of this album as well, along with Ken Mansfield. Her first husband was Dwayne Eddy from 1961
Wow.
to 1968.
There we go.
And she got divorced from him and married Waylon Jennings toward the end of '69. So she
Yeah,
wasn't
and they were very much kind of a power couple in country music.
and were
He
married
was,
until he died.
yeah, right.
So clearly something about that worked for them.
That's right.
This was the single was released on January 16th, 1975. It made its debut on the country chart February 15th. It was really her breakthrough. It peaked at
Yes.
number 1 on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart. It was also a major crossover pop hit. It peaked at number 4 on the Hot 100. And it was ranked number 41 in the year-end Hot 100 singles. So,
It's
in terms of a crossover, pretty good.
yeah, it was a big song. It's very raw. Few songs start off as languidly as this one does. It just takes a while to kind of get going, but it's almost as though she's kind of working up to something. I think it's a very powerful delivery. I think I don't know her career at all, but this song is something.
She went on to have a considerable success on the country scene, especially
Okay.
especially with her albums. And Waylon Jennings, of course, was her producer throughout. So I think until about the mid '80s, she was actually doing a pretty good job of selling
It's interesting.
albums.
Waylon Jennings is such an interesting figure. He was there at the beginning of rock and roll, even a West Texas guy, pal with Buddy Holly, famously gave up the seat, all that on the day the music died.
Yeah.
But he's
one of the
also
Outlaws.
one of the Outlaws, right? And so this is the
Johnny
interesting
Cash,
thing.
Chris
Johnny
Christopherson,
Cash, yeah. So it's this
Willie
whole
Nelson.
outlaw country, this whole outlaw country thing. And so one could imagine that it was a difficult road for Colter to hoe a little bit because she still wants to make it in Nashville, but he's sort of the antithesis of Nashville. So these are interesting waters to navigate, undoubtedly. But it's really let's listen to the song.
All right, just really
Go ahead.
I'm not Lisa. Lisa is the girlfriend, maybe the wife of
Yeah.
man that she's with. She is Judy. But it's clear he lost Lisa. She died. And he has never really
That's right.
let go of his first love and clearly his most important love. The emotional attachment is still there. And Judy has the feeling that she's always competing with Lisa.
That's exactly right. No, that's exactly right. The song is raw. I mean, it's raw. So let's listen to a little bit of it.
Mhm.
Jessi Colter's "I'm Not Lisa."
I'm not Lisa. My name is Julie. Lisa left you years ago. My eyes are not blue, but mine won't leave you till the sunlight has touched your face.
Yeah. Oh man, that is okay. That's a vocal. So Jessi Colter with "I'm Not Lisa." So Dave, we haven't talked about this for a while, but let's just remind everyone about Tiger Beat magazine. Um, so if what is, I mean, Tiger Beat? What's Tiger Beat? How would you describe it?
Well, Tiger Beat was it was a fanzine
Yeah.
essentially for pubescent girls. The staple was young, attractive rock stars or television stars
Mhm.
who would be the stuff of their young girl fantasies.
There you
And
go.
every week there'd be a colorful cover with several of these guys on there. There'd be a central guy, and then Michael Jackson and Donny Osmond and David Cassidy,
Yeah,
Bobby Sherman, that sort of thing.
there are
And
staples, but
that's
yeah.
what they said. And they would talk um, about the scene, although it wasn't necessarily journalism in that sense. It was more fictional writing.
No, I think that's fair. I think that's right. I think it was also a magazine where there was a lot of interaction between the magazine and the artist publicist, and so looking to either plant a seed or to kind of revive maybe a flagging career or something like that. But as you're suggesting, right, there are these people that we see over and over again. All right, so with that, all right, here we go. This is Tiger Beat from June of 1975. And again, taken from your archives. No, it's this is Tiger Beat. So it's always interesting to see the figures on the cover. So Donnie and Marie. So Marie is now a very familiar face on Tiger Beat. I think that is Tony DeFranco in the hat, who
Yes,
is
yes.
good grief. So again, to remind our folks, Tony DeFranco of the DeFranco family, I think it's a heartbeat. It's a heartbeat. It's a love beat.
Yeah.
From maybe even a couple of years ago. The DeFranco thing was he stayed on the front page of Tiger Beat long after the DeFranco family had fled the charts. In the middle, I think that is a young Van Patten. Maybe that's
Oh, that
Vince Van
is.
Patten.
Yeah, that's who it is. Yeah.
Uh, Freddie Prinze there in the mustache. He is just starting to catch fire with Chico and the Man, starting alongside Albertson. He will have a very untimely passing here very soon, actually. And I just want to mention the guy at the top, who is that's one Brett Hudson. So the Hudson's exclusive baby scrapbook. The Hudsons, you say? The Hudsons. Who were the Hudsons? The Hudson brothers, right? It's Brett, Mark, and Bill Hudson from Portland, Oregon, who were they knocked about in the Northwest for a really decade, in the regional circuit. They had only 2 hits of note in the U.S. I guess the one maybe they're best known for is Rendezvous. But they were telegenic, modestly amusing, and
Had their own variety show.
had their own variety show. And
The
so they
Hudson
connected
Brothers.
the Hudson Brothers variety show. They were a summer replacement for the Sonny and Cher show. And they had a lot of links with the Sonny and Cher's producers. In fact, many of the people who appeared on the Sonny and Cher show as regulars appeared alongside the Hudson brothers. Hudson brothers also
Was Cher ever married to a Hudson brother?
She was not,
She was
but
not. Okay.
but Goldie Hawn was.
Oh,
So
Goldie Hawn. That's yes.
So
Yes.
he's married to Bill Hudson, and Bill Hudson is the biological father of Kate Hudson, and we don't have to go into great depths here, but it's the relationship there is, yeah, it's nasty. It's been nasty for a long time, and Kate Hudson has been publicly very, I don't know, unpleasant when it comes to her biological father. But the Hudson brothers had their moment. They were also on Saturday morning television in the mid 70s with the so-called Hudson Brothers Razzle Dazzle show, which had among the featured artists on that thing was an Australian ventriloquist named Rod Hull. He had an emu.
An emu that he would ride?
That he would kind of ride and kind of control, and kind of then the emu would go nuts and attack people around it and that kind of thing. It's the Hudson brothers is just it's a very odd thing, but they had their moment. And Brett Hudson, who was at this point, I believe he was 22 or 23, which is not necessarily really old for a Tiger Beat cover. There he is in his moment of glory.
It's older than most people who appear on Tiger Beat.
Yeah, but it's not as old as Randolph Mantooth was a few months ago. We talked about that, where he was, I think, in his late 20s, but older than most. I mean, yeah. you're absolutely right. So had to get our Tiger Beat fix in. All right, so let's move back to the charts if we could. At number 7, it's Major Harris with Love Won't Let Me Wait. Okay, Major Harris won't ring a lot of bells with most people. Maybe his group, though, the Delphonics might. He was a member of the Delphonics for a long time, most of the 60s. The Delphonics had 2 big hits in 68. La La Means I Love You, and then this is a song we actually talked about early. 1970s, Didn't I Blow Your Mind This Time? He stepped away from the Delphonics mid 1970s and set out on his own. And this is his high watermark. Love Won't Let Me Wait peaks at number 5 on the pop charts and number 1 on the R&B soul charts. And this really is kind of it for him as a solo artist. He will eventually rejoin the Delphonics and pursue a career on the oldie circuit for another 2 or 3 decades. Major Harris died in 2012. This song is penned by Vinnie Barrett and Bobby Eli. They had a lot of success with songs with groups out of Philadelphia, with the Philadelphia International label, Love Won't Let Me Wait, Sideshow, among many others. So these are accomplished songwriters. But I have to say that this is not a song that made a deep impression on me in 1975. And I struggled to really even become all that, connected to it. And I listened to it recently. But this is it. Love Won't Let Me Wait, Major Harris.
The time is right. You hold me tight, and love's got me high. Please tell me yes, and don't say no, honey, not tonight. I need to have you next to me in more ways than one, and I refuse to leave.
All right, okay. All right, there we go. So there we have it. Your Major Harris fix. Major Harris with Love Won't Let Me Wait.
I do not remember that single.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't either. So, but undoubtedly people are screaming at their screens at the moment. How could you forget that?
Yes.
Okay, so let's just talk about quickly a couple that we talked about, a couple songs we talked about last month. Oh my God, the wretched Thank God I'm a Country Boy is at number 8 in June. Again,
Oh
that's
man,
close to a war, as
you
close
need
to
to
a
get
war
over
crime.
that.
It's-
That's just unreal.
I mean, that should be adjudicated in The Hague. But and then the Sublime Philadelphia Freedom used to be a Rolling Stone. Oh my God, that's so good. The
Well,
Elton John band.
this is back in the
You
top
know.
10, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
Philadelphia Freedom. It's number 9. Yes,
because it was not top 10 last month.
I think it was. I think it was number 1 last month.
Is that right?
I think that's right.
Oh,
But I
time
mean,
drags by.
but nevertheless, it's a terrific song.
Yes, it is.
Well, at number 10, it's Joe Simon. Joe Simon, you say? Yes, Joe Simon with "Get Down, Get Down, Get on the Floor." This song is peaked at number 8 on the pop charts and number 1 on the soul and R&B charts. This is his Simon's lone top 10 pop hit. Simon was a figure who knocked about on the so-called Chitlin circuit for many years in the South. Born in Louisiana, he split the difference between a world in the pop world, soul world, and also then in faith and religion. And he was active in his faith and was well regarded in Christian circles and in Christian music circles. He was, though, a big figure on the R&B charts. Being a big figure, number 1 hits. The Choking Kind in 69, Power of Love 72, and at 75, again, he tops the soul charts at 75 with his Get Down, Get Down. He wins a Grammy for the best male R&B performance for The Choking Kind. I mean, he's a figure. He's a deal. But again, from kind of the pop world, this is, he's a fleeting presence. But this song has a certain kind of swing, and you may recognize it. It may sound familiar. So let's listen to a little Joe Simon and Get Down, Get Down, Get on the Floor.
Come on and let it roll. I feel the beat. I feel the heat. Everybody, won't you clap your hand and dance? Come on. All you got to do is move your body and shake what you can. Oh, baby. Let me tell you, you're looking good now. Come on, baby. Get down. Come on and get down.
Get down and get down. This, of course, is the golden era of dance music. And so if a song's got a beat like that, people are going to dance to it. So there we got it. It's Joe Simon.
Did not recognize it.
Did not recognize it. Joe
But
Simon
I
at
can
number 10.
easily see how a vocalist like that would do well with gospel.
I think so too. I mean, and he was known as Bishop Joe Simon for much of his career, and I think beloved in gospel and religious music circles as well. So yeah. So we got a couple more songs that we want to cherry pick, and Dave, you got them both. I think this next song at number 13, I think this might be Alice Cooper's finest moment, and I'll give you a chance to talk about it. But I think Alice Cooper oftentimes is overlooked as a vocalist. I mean, he's an entertainer, and he had the stage presence, and all this. But as a vocalist, I mean, I don't know if he's ever better than he is here. Number 13, it's Only Women, or Only Women Bleed.
Yes. And depending on what pressing you have of the single or
That's
what
right.
chart you're looking at,
That's right.
obviously Only Women Bleed is considered a reference to menstruation, and in prudish America, that's frowned upon. And so in order to get away from that association, they often just left the third word off of this title.
Right. That's right.
But it's a fine ballad. It's just,
Oh my gosh.
I think the first, if I'm not mistaken, the first of his singles that is a ballad.
I think that's right, Dave. Yeah, I think
Right.
this is the first, and there are several that will follow.
Right.
But this is the first, and so this is very much new territory for him, and I think caught many people. Hell, it caught everybody by surprise.
But as
Nobody
you say,
anticipated this.
He does it well. He has a talent for
Oh.
this sort of thing.
I think it is his finest vocal effort. I think it's fantastic.
I like a lot of his ballads, and yes, and so this was a surprise.
Oh, it was a
The
big surprise. Yeah.
the Billboard staff responded warmly to the single.
I read this too. Yeah.
They described it as a stunning. Um, Record World called it, quote, a ballad with a surprisingly international flavor, end quote. Um, Saying also, Alice's new sound should prove a soft touch for reaching his widest audience yet. Um,
Yeah.
sure. The British weekly magazine Disc had a review by Beverly Legg um, that supposed that the listeners would be shocked by the, quote, subdued sound of Cooper. And he said, quote, the song is a fairly harmless lament about downtrodden maidens, end quote. Now,
That is
is
that
that not
that's
incredibly misogynistic?
that's
I find that,
outrageous. That is
right?
outrageous. No, I read
Outrageous.
that as well. That's outrageous. I to yeah,
And
yes, misogynist, capital M.
quote, quite unlike anything he's done before, the change of style has worked. It's definitely one of the most outstanding tracks on the album. All right, so overall, a praise of the song, but yes, the first quote is just oh,
No,
unreal.
it's yeah, it's creepy. And but it just you don't have to. And he ran into some problems with women's groups. I think largely based on the title. But if you listen to the song, it's obvious. I mean, this is a lament of a woman who's, in trouble and in a troubled relationship. And
And
it's
clearly
fascinating.
the man is the problem in this song,
100%. Yes. I
right?
mean, it's yes. I mean, it's a kind of feminist anthem. Kind of. I mean,
Kind of.
it's it
And
and
it certainly is a condemnation
one
of
that's right.
a toxic masculinity.
Yes, and it is not veiled in that. I mean, it's
No,
very up. And so the fact that he ran into trouble is surprising, but it was really a bold choice. It's really a bold choice on Cooper's part and Bob Ezrin's. The production here is magnificent. There's this bridge in the middle that's kind of orchestral and kind of a power moment. There's a lot happening here. I think it's one of his best. I really do.
I like it a lot. Just real quickly, this is from his first solo album, Welcome to My Nightmare.
Yeah, this is
This was released on Atlantic, which they used a loophole in the contract which allows
here we go.
him to make soundtracks for other companies. And this
Oh,
was then
okay.
conceived as a soundtrack for movie or television movie, Welcome to My Nightmare. There's even a strange story about a rock star Steven and his
Okay.
wife who disappear in a plane crash, and Steven shows up 28 days later, um, safe and sound, perfectly healthy. It turns out he turned into a vampire during that time.
Well, these things happen, my friend.
Yes.
So
Anyway, a very, very strange story. Um, I don't think anyone really is into the nightmare because of the story and what's beyond that. But uh, we have the co-writer of this was Dirk Wagner.
mhm.
Um, he
And
had been with the band The Frost from Michigan
yeah.
and had written this song several years earlier, but never liked the song, never liked the lyrics. So he got together with Cooper and they rewrote it. But the music portion is from this earlier song.
Yeah, and Wagner. So Wagner had a fairly lengthy relationship with Cooper by this point. And this is also coming right in the stage where the original Alice Cooper band basically disintegrated. And the remnant of that band is Cooper
Steve
himself.
Hunter, Dick Wagner, um, had both performed on Billion Dollar Babies,
Yes,
and they were along for the ride on this one too.
that's right. That's right. And so what we'll see here, right, from really from here on out, is that Cooper then um, working with the people he wants to work with, and oftentimes really very, very talented. I mean, Cooper has long been noted as a person who's put together some of the best bands in the world. So when he goes into the studio or when he goes on to tour, he's working with the best. But the original incarnation of the band, basically, they burnt themselves out.
Yeah.
And what we have here is the Alice Cooper that we're more familiar with.
Now,
Yeah.
Ezrin had worked with Lou Reed on his 1973 concept album, Berlin.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
following his live album, Rock and Roll Animal, 1974,
Which is a terrific album,
the
classic.
essentially, the band members of that live Lou
Yeah.
Reed band were the background band for this album,
Yep.
including Hunter Wagner, Prakash John, and Penty Glan or Glan. So they were all there, and that was that Ezrin connection with Lou Reed. Anyway,
Yeah. And
these are the
Ezrin,
people who were backing him up on this.
and Ezrin is the person who put together, right? I mean, the band's Alice Cooper's hits in earlier albums, and it's
Yes.
Ezrin then who will then move from Cooper to work with a group called Kiss very soon, right? And it's Ezrin who is at the helm of Destroyer, which is, I think, the album that puts Kiss into the stratosphere. Ezrin's a really interesting.
Ezrin
he works with Pink Floyd. He's a very
very
somewhat
important.
controversial figure, not controversial like a Phil Spector, but really interesting, and does seem to get the best out of people, particularly in this era.
All right.
Oh yeah,
This, by the way, this was one of his biggest hits. It reached #1 on the Canadian National Singles Chart, and peaked at number 12, where it is now, and the Hot 100. So, shall we
yeah.
listen in?
Let's listen to a little bit of Only Women Bleed.
Man makes your hair gray, he's your life's mistake. All you're really looking for's an even break. He lies right at you, you know you hate this game. Slaps you once in a while and you live in love and pain. She cries alone at night too often. He smokes and drinks and don't come home at all. Only women bleed. Only women bleed.
Ah man, if Alice Cooper ever did an important song, this might be it. I mean, this is a terrific number, and in this era, I think it has a certain added poignancy as women's issues are coming to the fore, and yeah, these kinds of things are talked about really oftentimes for the first time.
Yeah,
They
might
yeah,
enjoy a unwelcome currency even today.
oh, that's uncomfortable. But yes, I think a fair point. So last song I want to get to, there's another one that Dave's going to talk about here in a second. So if Alice Cooper's Only Women is one of his greatest, I think that this song is this band's one of their greatest. It's the Doobie Brothers in Take Me in Your Arms, Rock Me.
Well, the only thing that I just think the Doobie Brothers have, I think it's a really stiff competition. They have so much good stuff, but this is certainly one of their really great songs from the album, their fifth album, Stampede. And the writers are names that we recognize very well. Holland, Dossier, Holland.
This is one of the things that really makes this song interesting, is that there's this kind of reasonably complex backstory. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly right.
so of course that's Lamont Dossier, Brian and Eddie Holland, the
That's right.
legendary songwriting team from Motown
Oh,
Records.
oh yeah.
Tom Johnson, who was the frontman at the time, said, quote, I had been a fan of that song since it came out somewhere in the 60s. And this song has been covered by everybody, by the way.
Yeah, it has.
I just loved that song. So somewhere around 72, I started lobbying to get the band to do a cover of that. And I didn't get anywhere until 75. Then finally in 1975, we actually did it, end quote. Jeff Baxter said, quote, that song was like a dream come true for us. Every musician I've ever known has at some point wanted to achieve Motown's technically slick soul sound.
Yep.
It's so dynamic. We sat down to try to duplicate it and to see if our version could emerge as a successful single, end quote. They brought in the Motown veteran Paul Reiser to
Oh, good.
arrange the
Yeah.
track. And according to Patrick Simmons, quote, at first the band sounded like the Grateful Dead doing the Four Tops, but gradually it came together quite accurately.
Yeah.
So yes, this is essentially their tribute to
And
Motown.
it is, and it comes across that way, Dave. It comes across as a kind of faithful rendition. It's clearly the Doobies, but it's also, they're not straying too far from the original originals. That's just, and yeah, it's fantastic. And I love the way that it's arranged, the orchestration. This is, I think, Ted Templeman, right, who produces this.
Yes.
This is one of his masterpieces. I
Well,
think this is a terrific.
and Templeman, I don't know if we've actually talked about him yet, but he's also known for producing acts like Montrose, Little Feat, Van Halen,
Yep.
Captain Beefheart, Van Morrison, Nicolette Larson, and including a couple of the later albums from Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. So
Yeah,
he keeps busy.
he does keep busy, right? He becomes to the fore as a member of Harper's Bazaar with this kind of sunshine pop group, vocal group. So he understands how to arrange voices. So the thing about the Doobies that's always been so interesting is that they sing so well.
Oh man, yeah.
They sing so well, and that is a feature of, I think, in part, Templeman's gift in the production room. This is a real high water mark, I think, for the Doobies. I'm much clipped out about it.
Okay, let's listen in.
Let's do. That is peak Doobie Brothers, and that is a great way to end things for today. So,
Well, and
yeah,
the funny thing is, the Doobie Brothers really make that their song, and so hearing it all this time, I hear the Doobie Brothers when they're singing, but when you're aware of the Motown background,
that is exactly
you
right.
hear,
You
oh
hear it.
yes, it's Motown.
It's Motown. It's definitely Motown.
Yeah.
And
So
that's, I think, the beauty of this is that they somehow kind of split the difference,
yes,
right? They
yeah.
make it theirs, but they, it's just, I kind of wish that they had done a little more of that. I mean, the
They do it
notion of
well.
they do it well.
Yeah,
So there we go. So Dave, why don't you take us home here?
sure. Um, if you liked this episode, we hope you did, give us a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, you can do that right here. You can listen to another 50 years ago this month right up here. And as always, you'll want to be wanting to check out the playlist. Fantastic stuff. All the songs we talked about and then some right here.
Yeah, great stuff as always. And we include a reading list each month, so you can dig a little deeper. Talk as we talk about these producers and various kinds of influences. So check that out. And again, a reminder that we're on BlueSky now, and we're putting up new content on BlueSky every day. Stephen Dave's one at BlueSky. So until next time, we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.